almost the converse, guys, for Egypt compared to what we were talking about with Belgium. They finished the group, Belgium, with a good win, a resounding win, taking their confidence into the knockouts. Egypt, pretty good in the first two games, but then very disappointing against a team you would expect a side with all of the quality that they have, Marcelo, to be beating.
Yeah, listen, I think that they haven't really showed their best yet, Egypt, right? And then all of a sudden you start playing, you go up, they counter on you and score real quick again. And then Mo Salah goes out, he gets injured, your leader, your orchestrator there. So, yeah, I think they're going in, they're limping in. They're limping into the next round. And to be honest, I'm not sure how far they can get right now. Watching them play, they were okay. But when you lose your captain, they were average at best. I think when you watch the game, the second half, I think almost Iran was a little bit better than them. They were moving around. A pinky toe, they were offside. You know, that's not what VAR was invented for. But with a pinky toe away, they were one step away from being number 2 in that group and getting Egypt into that third place.
Do you feel like, Michael, I mean, we have to almost mark a line in the sand. This is the first time they've ever got out of the groups at a World Cup. So that is an amazing achievement for Egypt. But it sort of feels a bit like they won, getting that first win was then almost a curse after that. Did it get too much for them? How do you explain the fact that they won the first game and then weren't able to follow it up?
Well, we have to look at it in context. And you are right, this is the first time they've ever qualified for the knockout round of a World Cup competition. So congratulations to all my Egyptian friends in Cairo and Alexandria, and congratulations to the Egyptian football fan base. This is a big milestone. Now you get into the weeds of it. You get into how they got into the knockout round. And for me, you said it, Cello, they backed their way into this. What a letdown for me personally, seeing the heroics of how they got the win against New Zealand, where they had to come back, show their character. Mohamed Salah gets a goal. You're thinking, okay, wait a second. Egypt can go and win this group. They had every single thing in their locker to win this group, and they let a golden opportunity go by the wayside, because now you're playing the Russian roulette of the next round of the draw, of where you're going to be in the bracket. And for me, just not enough players showed up on today. Mohamed Salah, okay, he created some half chances, but a very quiet performance. And there is some worry about the timing of him coming off the field again. But it's not just him. Now you have another injury to the back line in Mohamed Abdelrahman, who he had suffered an ACL injury and missed almost 60 games. Wow. He comes back, he gets a start in the World Cup, and now that's one of your top defenders who plays in Ligue 1, who's potentially going to miss more time. We don't know what the extent of the injury is, but he comes off after 14 minutes. And it just seems like the wheels were kind of shaking a bit and wobbly, and VAR, they really saved Egypt today because the way Egypt played, the way Iran forced themselves and willed themselves back into this game, maybe controversial, but Egypt did not deserve to get a draw today, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to say, playing in a World Cup, we had a plan, okay, in 94. And when we hit that plan, we weren't planning on beating Colombia. We'll put it that way. It happened. And after we reached that goal, there was a letdown the next game. You know what I mean? Because once you obtain that goal of we made it, we had a little bit of a letdown, like, okay, we're already into the next round, and we kind of dropped our intensity. Romania came, they took it. That's kind of what I felt like Egypt did. They knew they were already in. All they needed was a point, so they kind of just dropped the level. They just played enough to get the draw. Barely at the end got the draw, but it wasn't the same team. And sometimes when you do reach that, we made it, we're out of the group, we're going to get in the next round, there's a letdown, and I felt like that's what I saw today.
Well, at one point, I think it was at half-time, they were finishing top of the group. In the life standings, they would have gone through. It's Australia for them in the round of 32, who obviously we've seen quite closely watching the US men's national team beat them 2-0 in what I would describe as a hard-fought game. It wasn't the easiest game for the US side in the group stage. How do you think they'll feel about that one?
I think they'll be a little bit nervous because the one thing watching them play in the recent AFCON, Egypt actually thrive being a team that sits back, absorbs pressure, and hits on the counter. The one thing that has been their bogey or playing against styles of play has been breaking a low block. Yet again, they struggled to break a low block against Iran in how Iran invited pressure in. And against Australia, if I'm Hosam Hassan, you have to adapt.
Yeah.
We talked about Loco Bielsa not willing to adapt. Yep. It just felt like Hassan was just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping individual moments of brilliance bailed them out. In the first half against New Zealand, very fortunate because New Zealand had them dead to rights. And then to his credit, he was able to adapt in the second half. I thought the way he moved Mohamed Salah around, moved Zico around. But today, he got his tactics completely wrong. Great early start to get the goal, but then dodgy goalkeeping, defenders and midfielders not knowing how to impact the game. So they got to figure out a way how to break down a low block out of it.
It was good in the air, good on set piece. Irakunde is a guy that'll fly. Touré's going to fly. This is a team that'll hit you quickly on counterattack. So, and I like the fact that, you know what? Australia has their identity, and they're okay with it. It's, you have the ball, have it. Send bodies, we're going to defend, and we're going to hit you on a counterattack. But they're comfortable not having the ball. Egypt wants the ball. So what Egypt going to do? They're going to send bodies, everything Australia wants. So I tell you what, that sets up for Australia better than the U.S. game.
Yeah, it should be an interesting encounter. From Iran's perspective, I think they obviously came into the World Cup probably looking at this group thinking, let's try and finish third, give ourselves at least a chance of getting into the knockout phase. They'll have to wait to see exactly if they do qualify and who they'll face. But they were in the fight today, weren't they, Michael? I mean, they were, as Cello said, a toenail away from winning the game.
Yeah, I've just been floored and amazed at just the character that this Iranian side has showed with what's happening outside of football and just some of just how that can impact you as a player, for lack of a better word, and how that can be something that can make you lose your focus. But if anything, it's brought this group of players together. And you could see the inspiration that they had in the last match where they played at SoFi in Inglewood in California, where there's a massive Persian population. Yep. You think of the Persians in Glendale, you think of the Persians all around Southern California. And for the first time in a while, it just felt like the noise outside of the stadium wasn't a factor. And today you could just see the belief growing even after they missed the penalty. Yeah. Where Mehdi Taremi, it was a poor penalty. You could feel the weight of the world on his shoulders when he stepped up to take it. Didn't look confident. But this is why being a team, this is why being bound together, this is why being a band of brothers is so important in difficult situations. I've been there in Africa. I've been there on the international level when there's political situations going on, and football can change lives. Football can give hope. And I hope, against all odds, Iran can book their ticket to the knockout round. I think they've been deserving given everything that's happening outside the field.